Hey everyone, this is Delta, and this is just a proof of concept video for my recent tutorial. So the tutorial was on a loop light setup, which you can see here. And the setup itself is pretty much just to turn off on and on lights as such in a loop. And I said you probably could use this loop with Switch to have a creative map or a survival map using lava fields and retractable pistons going in and out. So this is set on a loop so that the pistons will come up and down on a loop, so the player has to be quick, has to jump, and not muck around and fall in like I just did then. So it's pretty easy and it's pretty simple to do. The circuits within it are pretty simple. They're not mine, obviously. The ones known already, I've just collaborated them and put them into a specific order to create this contraption. And we have another one over here which we'll explain soon. So this is running a loop that will be turned off and on, so I can turn it off and then now it won't restart again. And this is using an edge timer and an AND gate. So the AND gate finds that the switch needs to be turned on in order to be looped again. So what I would do is I want to go over the circuit tree before we look underneath there, so it won't be long. Okay, so essentially this unit over here is a broken down version of the lava field itself. So we have the loop itself, which comes through here, connected to an AND gate. We have our input source and we have our edge trigger. So some of you probably know how this works. Some of you won't. So just bear in mind if you already know how to do it. I'm going to go over this quickly for the people who don't. So we have our input source that comes in initially, comes through into our AND gate. It says yes, it can be accepted. And then we have another one that comes through and says yep, that's fine. So it sends the thing around in the loop, and it will register that this is already on. So we'll go around and around and around the loop. But what's making it a pulse is that when it comes through, the signal comes through here, but this piston comes straight after it on the first delay and it cuts it. So only a short pulse will go through. So we'll test it here. So only a short pulse went through, and now our AND gate is set up so when the thing comes in, it loops around, and when we turn it off, it simply stops when the loop comes to the end. So it's pretty simple, and it's using an AND gate and an edge trigger again, just to clarify. So it's pretty much the exact same thing inside here. So we'll go and look inside here. It's a bit complicated to see what's happening. So we have same setup here, so we have an AND gate, edge trigger, they just moved around slightly. We have our input source that comes in, and an edge trigger and whatnot. As well though, we have a longer delay on the edge trigger, so the pulse is much longer. Instead of that little short pulse we had on the last trigger delay, it's much longer. It's hard to see, but we've got all these repeaters in here, so it gives it a very long delay. So it's basically the same thing. So we can turn it on and the pistons will come on, and then literally the player comes through and jumps, and as you can hear behind me, the pistons drop down and give the player no warning. So it's quite fun to use, and the player has to kind of act quite fast to do it. So this is using an edge trigger with delay and an AND gate. This one over here is slightly different. It's using an AND gate as well. However, it's using a monostable circuit instead, and this is player active, so the player would have to press the pressure plates in order for it to start. It does, however, have a lever again, and this is so if you want to loop again. So if you don't want to loop, you can turn this off. So with this off, it will just go through one cycle, go to the end, and stop. With on, it will loop around and around and around. So it's got its on right now. So for some reason, the obsidian catches fire. So we have a player activator, so the player has to touch it. When the player hops off, add monostable, so it stays for a bit. So what a monostable circuit pretty much is that we've got one over here. It sends a pulse through at a certain amount of delay. So we have one here where we stand on it now, and it stays for a certain amount of time and then resets itself. So what a monostable circuit is as well, that we have power that comes into our torch. The torch turns off. This signal turns on this torch turns on, so the signal is kept on by this torch. Comes through, powers this piston. So the piston is now on. However, we have a delay running through. This comes all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, all the way around. Turns off this torch now, which turns off the signal, resetting the switch. So it's a monostable circuit. Again, some of you probably know how it works and whatnot and how it functions. But essentially, inside here we have the exact same thing. So we have our pressure plates above here coming in to the monostable circuit over here, with a delay going straight back in. So this is quite handy if you want it to play to activate it. So the player will come through, activate it, jump like such, and behind them whatnot, it'll go down. It's a bit of an impossible jump, that is. But anyway, so the player will activate it, not the switch itself. So either way, it's they're quite easy and handy to have. Sorry. And yeah, so I'll be more than happy to make tutorials individually on each, instead of if someone asks for it. Go ahead and ask for it. It's like, if you want to have it, it doesn't take much effort to do it at all. So if you want to see some more on how to actually build it, it's fine. However, I do have a tutorial on this light setup, which is pretty much very similar to the one over there. It's just moved horizontally, and added repeaters in between. So if you've seen what I've done over there, pretty much watch this tutorial and you probably can change it over if you wanted to. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys liked it. Again, none of these circuits are mine. There's more of collaborating these circuits together in a certain fashion to create an outcome, which is this awesome survival trap you could use, or like system that you could use for the player itself. So hope you guys enjoyed. Give us a rating, give us feedback if you would like any more other ones or what have you. And yeah, we'll see you later. So Delta out. Bye.